The sprawling estate of Oakhaven stood as a monument to the Bancroft family's century-long reign in the world of luxury textiles. Its manicured lawns, echoing with the hushed whispers of generations past, concealed a simmering cauldron of ambition and resentment. Within its gilded walls, the lives of cousins Julian and Alistair Bancroft unfolded, intertwined yet perpetually shadowed by rivalry. Julian, the elder, was groomed from birth to inherit the mantle of Bancroft Textiles, his days filled with the meticulous study of fabrics, market trends, and the intricate dance of international commerce. Alistair, though equally adept, existed in Julian's shadow, his innovative ideas often dismissed as youthful exuberance, his contributions subtly minimized. The air within Oakhaven crackled with unspoken tensions. A silent battle for recognition and approval played out under the watchful eyes of their grandfather, the patriarch whose favor was the ultimate prize. The weight of expectation bore heavily on Julian. Every success was attributed to his birthright, every mistake magnified as a sign of inadequacy. He yearned to prove himself, to carve his own mark on the legacy, yet found himself trapped within the rigid structure of tradition. Alistair, meanwhile, chafed against the constraints of his assigned role. He saw the stagnation creeping into Bancroft Textiles, the missed opportunities in emerging markets, the stifling of creativity in favor of established norms. His attempts to modernize the company were met with resistance, his vision dismissed as impractical. He dreamed of a future where innovation reigned, where merit superseded lineage, a future he felt increasingly barred from creating within the confines of Oakhaven. The annual Bancroft Gala, a lavish affair showcasing the company's latest designs, served as the backdrop for the unfolding drama. Julian, poised to unveil his meticulously planned expansion into sustainable fabrics, felt a surge of anticipation mixed with trepidation. He had poured his heart and soul into this project, hoping to demonstrate his leadership and secure his place at the helm. Alistair, relegated to managing the event logistics, watched with a mixture of envy and frustration. He knew Julian's plan was sound, but lacked the boldness needed to truly disrupt the industry. The evening took a devastating turn when, during Julian's presentation, a scandal erupted. Documents, seemingly leaked from within the company, revealed questionable ethical practices in Bancroft Textiles' overseas manufacturing. The accusations, though partially fabricated, were damaging enough to send shockwaves through the company and its investors. Julian, caught completely off guard, watched his reputation crumble before his eyes. The expansion plan was immediately shelved, his leadership questioned, his future uncertain. In the ensuing chaos, Alistair stepped forward, offering a swift and decisive solution. He presented a counter-proposal, a radical restructuring of the company's supply chain, promising transparency and ethical sourcing. His plan, though risky, was met with cautious approval. Within weeks, Alistair had seized control, skillfully navigating the crisis and positioning himself as the savior of Bancroft Textiles. Julian, reeling from the betrayal, discovered the leaked documents had been orchestrated by Alistair himself, a calculated move to usurp his position. The gilded cage had shattered, leaving Julian stripped of his inheritance, his reputation tarnished, his future uncertain. He left Oakhaven, vowing to rebuild, to prove his worth, to expose Alistair's treachery, not through vengeful acts, but through undeniable success. The journey ahead would be arduous, fraught with challenges, but fueled by the burning embers of injustice, Julian embarked on a path to forge his own empire, one that would eclipse the shadow of Bancroft Textiles and redefine the very meaning of legacy. Leaving Oakhaven marked more than a physical departure. It signified a severance from a lifetime of ingrained expectations and a plunge into the uncharted waters of self-reliance. Julian found himself adrift, not merely without financial backing, but also bereft of the extensive network he had always taken for granted. Contacts, once readily available through the Bancroft name, now remained distant, their doors subtly closed. Undeterred, he embraced the anonymity, perceiving it as an opportunity to forge connections based solely on merit and the strength of his new vision. His initial venture began humbly, far removed from the opulent showrooms of Bancroft Textiles. He secured a small, unassuming workshop in a revitalizing district of the city, a space that resonated with the raw energy of creation. Instead of fine silks and imported wools, his initial materials consisted of recycled fabrics and locally sourced cotton, reflecting his commitment to sustainability, a principle that had been stifled within the confines of his family's business. This shift wasn't merely a matter of necessity. It was a conscious decision to align his business practices with his personal values, a stark contrast to the compromises he had witnessed at Bancroft Textiles. As he began to experiment with innovative designs, Julian encountered a different kind of challenge, convincing consumers to embrace the concept of sustainable luxury. The prevailing perception was that eco-friendly products were synonymous with inferior quality and uninspired aesthetics. To overcome this hurdle, he focused on crafting pieces that were not only environmentally responsible, but also aesthetically compelling and exceptionally durable. He sought out artisans who shared his passion for craftsmanship and ethical production, forming a collaborative network that prioritized quality over quantity. The early days were marked by relentless effort and financial strain. Julian often worked late into the night, meticulously perfecting each design, personally overseeing production, and managing every aspect of the business. He learned to navigate the intricacies of small business ownership, from securing loans to managing cash flow, skills that had been largely irrelevant within the structured environment of Bancroft Textiles. His apartment became an impromptu office, his social life temporarily suspended as he poured every ounce of energy into his fledgling enterprise. The first major breakthrough came unexpectedly. A prominent fashion blogger, known for her discerning taste and commitment to ethical fashion, stumbled upon Julian's workshop during a visit to the city. Impressed by his innovative designs and dedication to sustainable practices, she featured his collection on her widely read blog. The resulting surge in attention led to a series of collaborations with independent boutiques and online retailers, providing Julian with the visibility and capital he needed to expand his operations. This pivotal moment highlighted the power of authentic storytelling and the growing consumer demand for brands that aligned with their values, a lesson that would shape Julian's approach to marketing and brand building. Now, consider how this applies when you face skepticism about your core values. Demonstrating unwavering commitment can attract unexpected allies and opportunities. The burgeoning success of Julian's venture, christened Evergreen Textiles, attracted attention from unexpected corners, including former colleagues at Bancroft Textiles. Some, disillusioned by Alistair's increasingly ruthless management style and questionable ethical decisions, sought refuge in Evergreen's more principled environment. These defectors, while initially met with cautious skepticism, proved invaluable, bringing with them specialized knowledge and a deep understanding of Bancroft's inner workings. However, their presence also introduced a new dynamic: the challenge of integrating individuals accustomed to a hierarchical structure into Evergreen's collaborative ethos. One such individual was Eleanor Vance, a seasoned textile designer who had spent 2 decades at Bancroft, rising through the ranks to become a lead designer. Eleanor's traditional design sensibilities initially clashed with Evergreen's avant-garde aesthetic, leading to creative friction. Yet her expertise in classic textile techniques and her extensive knowledge of historical patterns proved invaluable in adding depth and sophistication to Evergreen's collections. Julian recognized that true innovation stemmed not from discarding the past, but from reinterpreting it through a contemporary lens. Conversely, integrating these seasoned professionals wasn't without its pitfalls. Some struggled to adapt to the faster pace and more agile decision-making processes of a smaller company. Others, accustomed to the prestige associated with the Bancroft name, found it difficult to adjust to the relative obscurity of a startup. Julian invested heavily in training and mentorship programs, fostering a culture of continuous learning and mutual respect. He encouraged open communication and constructive feedback, creating an environment where diverse perspectives could converge and spark innovation. Another crucial layer involved navigating the subtle attempts at sabotage emanating from Bancroft Textiles. Alistair, threatened by Evergreen's growing market share, employed various tactics to undermine Julian's progress. These ranged from spreading false rumors about Evergreen's financial stability to attempting to poach key employees. Julian, rather than engaging in direct retaliation, chose to focus on strengthening Evergreen's internal culture and building stronger relationships with its customers and suppliers. He understood that the best defense against such tactics was to create a company that was resilient, adaptable, and deeply committed to its core values. Building on this, however, Julian realized that merely creating a sustainable and ethical business wasn't enough. To truly compete with Bancroft Textiles, Evergreen needed to establish a distinct brand identity that resonated with a wider audience. He commissioned a renowned branding agency to develop a comprehensive marketing strategy that highlighted Evergreen's commitment to sustainability, innovation, and social responsibility. The campaign, launched across multiple platforms, told the story of Evergreen's origins, its mission, and its vision for a more ethical and sustainable future for the textile industry. This narrative, communicated with authenticity and passion, resonated deeply with consumers, further solidifying Evergreen's position as a rising force in the market. The strategic expansion of Evergreen Textiles necessitated a meticulous examination of market dynamics. Rather than directly confronting Bancroft's established dominance in traditional luxury sectors, Julian identified niche opportunities where Evergreen's core values resonated more profoundly. This involved venturing into bespoke apparel for conscious consumers, partnering with eco-tourism resorts to furnish their accommodations with sustainable textiles, and developing specialized fabrics for outdoor gear that prioritize both performance and environmental responsibility. These forays allowed Evergreen to cultivate a loyal customer base that valued ethical production and innovative design, differentiating the brand from Bancroft's more conventional approach. Moreover, Julian recognized the importance of vertical integration to ensure quality control and transparency throughout the supply chain. He invested in establishing direct relationships with farmers and artisans, bypassing intermediaries who often prioritized profit over ethical practices. This not only guaranteed fair wages and safe working conditions for those involved in the production process, but also allowed Evergreen to trace the origins of its materials, providing consumers with detailed information about the environmental and social impact of their purchases. This commitment to traceability became a key selling point, attracting customers who sought greater transparency in the fashion industry. A significant turning point occurred when a major international retailer, facing increasing pressure from activist groups to adopt more sustainable practices, approached Evergreen with a proposition. The retailer sought to collaborate on a capsule collection of eco-friendly apparel, leveraging Evergreen's expertise in sustainable textiles and ethical production. This partnership provided Evergreen with access to a much larger audience, significantly boosting its brand awareness and sales. However, it also presented a challenge: scaling production without compromising Evergreen's core values. To address this, Julian implemented a decentralized manufacturing model, partnering with small-scale workshops and artisan cooperatives around the world. This allowed Evergreen to maintain its commitment to ethical production while meeting the demands of the partnership. He also invested in technology to streamline communication and coordination across the supply chain, ensuring that all partners adhered to Evergreen's strict environmental and social standards. This innovative approach demonstrated that it was possible to scale a sustainable business without sacrificing its values, setting a new benchmark for the industry. Withal, the shadow of Bancroft Textiles continued to loom large. Alistair, increasingly desperate to maintain his market share, resorted to more aggressive tactics, including launching a smear campaign against Evergreen, falsely accusing the company of greenwashing and unethical labor practices. Julian, rather than engaging in a public feud, chose to respond with transparency and data. He released a comprehensive report detailing Evergreen's sustainability initiatives, ethical sourcing practices, and social impact programs. This report, backed by independent audits and certifications, effectively debunked Alistair's accusations and further solidified Evergreen's reputation as a leader in sustainable fashion. Now, consider how building an unassailable reputation for integrity can act as a shield against baseless attacks and reinforce customer trust. With Evergreen Textiles gaining momentum, Julian confronted the challenge of scaling his vision without sacrificing the personalized touch that had become its hallmark. He resisted the allure of mass production, instead exploring opportunities to foster localized economies through micro-franchising. This innovative approach involved empowering aspiring entrepreneurs in underserved communities to operate their own Evergreen-branded workshops, providing them with training, resources, and access to the company's supply chain. This not only expanded Evergreen's production capacity, but also created meaningful employment opportunities and fostered a sense of shared ownership. A cornerstone of this strategy was the development of modular designs that could be easily adapted and customized by local artisans, reflecting regional aesthetics and cultural influences. This approach embraced diversity and celebrated the unique skills of each community, creating a collection of products that were both globally recognized and locally relevant. Furthermore, it allowed Evergreen to respond quickly to changing consumer preferences and market demands, maintaining its competitive edge in a rapidly evolving industry. However, the transition to a micro-franchising model presented its own set of hurdles. Ensuring consistent quality control across a decentralized network required the implementation of rigorous training programs and monitoring systems. Julian established a dedicated team to provide ongoing support to franchisees, offering guidance on everything from production techniques to marketing strategies. He also leveraged technology to facilitate communication and collaboration, creating a virtual community where franchisees could share best practices and learn from one another. The expansion also necessitated a recalibration of Evergreen's financial strategy. Securing funding for micro-franchises required navigating a complex landscape of grants, loans, and impact investments. Julian focused on building relationships with socially responsible investors who shared his commitment to creating positive social and environmental impact. He also developed innovative financing models that allowed franchisees to access capital on favorable terms, reducing the barriers to entry and fostering a more equitable business environment. As Evergreen's influence grew, Julian recognized the need to advocate for policy changes that would support sustainable and ethical business practices. He joined forces with other industry leaders and activist groups to lobby for stronger regulations on textile manufacturing, promoting transparency in supply chains and advocating for fair labor standards. This advocacy work not only helped to level the playing field for businesses like Evergreen, but also raised awareness among consumers about the environmental and social costs of fast fashion. Instead of viewing policy as an obstacle, Julian understood it as a powerful lever for driving systemic change, fostering a more sustainable and equitable future for the entire industry. Now, consider how proactively shaping the regulatory landscape can create a more favorable environment for businesses that prioritize social responsibility and long-term sustainability. As Evergreen Textiles navigated the intricacies of a globalized market, Julian discovered that true competition extended beyond mere product differentiation. It resided in crafting a narrative that resonated deeply with the human yearning for connection and purpose. Rather than solely highlighting the eco-friendly attributes of his fabrics, he began showcasing the stories of the artisans who wove them, the farmers who cultivated the raw materials, and the communities that benefited from Evergreen's ethical business practices. This shift toward human-centered storytelling transformed Evergreen from a brand into a movement, a collective of individuals united by a shared commitment to sustainability and social justice. To amplify these narratives, Julian embraced the power of visual media, commissioning short documentaries that chronicled the lives and struggles of the people behind Evergreen's products. These films, screened at film festivals and shared across social media platforms, offered a glimpse into the real-world impact of conscious consumerism, inspiring viewers to make more informed purchasing decisions. Further, Julian understood that transparency was paramount in building trust with consumers. He implemented a blockchain-based tracking system that allowed customers to trace the journey of their garments from the farm to the finished product, verifying the authenticity of Evergreen's sustainability claims. This level of transparency, unprecedented in the textile industry, not only differentiated Evergreen from its competitors, but also empowered consumers to become active participants in the company's mission. Yet, this increased visibility also brought heightened scrutiny. Activist groups and investigative journalists began to probe deeper into Evergreen's supply chain, seeking to uncover any inconsistencies or ethical lapses. Julian welcomed this scrutiny, viewing it as an opportunity to demonstrate Evergreen's unwavering commitment to transparency and accountability. He opened up his factories and workshops to independent auditors, inviting them to assess Evergreen's environmental and social performance. The results of these audits, published openly on Evergreen's website, provided concrete evidence of Evergreen's adherence to the highest ethical standards, silencing the critics and further solidifying the company's reputation. Concurrently, Julian sought to leverage the power of education to foster a more sustainable and ethical fashion industry. He partnered with universities and design schools to develop curriculum focused on sustainable textile design, ethical sourcing, and responsible manufacturing. These educational initiatives not only equipped the next generation of designers and business leaders with the knowledge and skills they needed to create a more sustainable future, but also served as a pipeline for recruiting talented individuals to Evergreen. In addition to formal education, Julian established a mentorship program, that paired young designers and entrepreneurs with experienced professionals in the sustainable fashion industry. This program provided aspiring innovators with the guidance and support they needed to launch their own ventures, creating a ripple effect of positive change across the industry. Now consider how embracing vulnerability and welcoming scrutiny can transform potential threats into opportunities for growth and strengthen your commitment to core values. Reflecting on this journey so far, a pattern emerges, less of a linear progression and more of an intricate tapestry woven with threads of resilience, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to principles. It's akin to watching a sapling, initially dwarfed by the shadow of a towering oak, gradually extend its branches, drawing sustenance from unexpected sources and ultimately blossoming into a unique and vibrant presence in the landscape. The initial fracture, born of betrayal and injustice, served not as a fatal wound, but as the catalyst for an extraordinary metamorphosis. The conventional metrics of success, market share, revenue, brand recognition, while undoubtedly significant, begin to pale in comparison to the deeper, more enduring legacy being forged. It's not merely about building a rival empire. It's about redefining the very essence of what an empire can represent. The pursuit transcends the accumulation of wealth or power, evolving into a quest for meaning, for a way to imbue commerce with a sense of purpose that resonates far beyond the bottom line. The path, as we have seen, has been far from seamless. The challenges encountered were not simply obstacles to overcome, but rather crucibles in which values were tested, refined, and ultimately solidified. Each setback, each instance of sabotage or skepticism, served as an opportunity to reaffirm the core principles that underpin Evergreen's existence, to double down on the commitment to sustainability, ethical practices, and the empowerment of marginalized communities. Drawing these strands together, we see a narrative that transcends the conventional business success story. It's a testament to the transformative power of adversity, to the capacity of the human spirit to not only endure, but to thrive in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. It's an exploration of the profound connection between personal values and professional pursuits, a demonstration that true success lies not in the relentless pursuit of profit, but in the unwavering dedication to a higher purpose. In light of these insights, the stage is now set for the final act. The convergence of these forces, the innovative business model, the unwavering commitment to ethical practices, the compelling narrative, and the growing influence within the industry, creates a palpable sense of anticipation. The ultimate question remains: how will this journey culminate? What lasting impact will Evergreen Textiles have on the world? As we pivot towards the final reflection, prepare to witness the culmination of this extraordinary endeavor, the unveiling of a legacy that promises to extend far beyond the confines of the textile industry. The arc of Evergreen Textiles, viewed in its totality, transcends the conventional narrative of entrepreneurial triumph. It stands as a testament to the enduring power of values to reshape not only a business, but an entire industry. The initial impetus, born of betrayal and a burning desire for vindication, gradually transmuted into something far more profound, a commitment to ethical business practices, environmental stewardship, and the empowerment of marginalized communities. What began as a personal quest evolved into a movement, a collective endeavor fueled by shared ideals and a belief in the transformative potential of conscious consumerism. The true measure of Evergreen success lies not merely in its financial performance or market share, but in its ability to inspire a fundamental shift in perspective. It demonstrated that profit and purpose are not mutually exclusive, that businesses can be a force for good, driving positive change while simultaneously achieving financial success. It challenged the prevailing notion that sustainability is a constraint, showcasing its potential as a source of innovation, competitive advantage, and lasting value. Looking beyond the immediate impact on the textile industry, Evergreen's story offers a broader lesson about the nature of legacy. It reveals that true legacy is not simply about accumulating wealth or power, but about leaving the world a better place than we found it. It's about using our talents and resources to create opportunities for others, to uplift those who have been marginalized, and to protect the environment for future generations. It's about building something that endures, not just in terms of financial success, but in terms of positive social and environmental impact. The shattering of that gilded cage, in retrospect, was not an ending, but a beginning. It was the catalyst that liberated Julian from the constraints of tradition and allowed him to forge his own path, guided by his own values. It was the crucible in which his character was tested, his resolve strengthened, and his vision clarified. The journey was arduous, fraught with challenges and setbacks, but ultimately rewarding, leading to the creation of something truly exceptional. And so, as the final threads are woven, the true practice begins now. The lessons learned, the values embraced, the commitment to a higher purpose, these are not confined to the realm of business. They extend into every aspect of our lives, challenging us to examine our own choices, to align our actions with our values, and to strive to make a positive impact on the world around us. The legacy of evergreen textiles is not just about sustainable fabrics. It's about the enduring power of human potential, the transformative force of compassion, and the unwavering pursuit of a more just and sustainable future for all. The true weaving begins now, with each individual thread contributing to a tapestry of hope, resilience, and enduring change.